Thank you for coming. My project is on a disease called NT-NMDA receptor encephalitis. So it's basically autoimmune disease, which means that the body's immune system is attacking itself. So these NMDA receptors are located in your brain, like exactly in hippocampus and in your limbic system. And then they're made of proteins, so body's immune system sometimes sees them as a threat and attacks them. That's why this disease starts. So to start it, this disease is a really fairly new disease. It's been found in 2007 by Joseph Dalmo, and so basically that's why there's not much information about this disease, or even if there's not there's one kind that says another thing, one source that says another thing. So this made me want to learn more. So there's a foundation in Canada. It's the NT-NMDA receptor encephalitis foundation, and I mailed them and then to learn more about it, and they gave me their site and they gave me more information about it. And I also emailed the founder of this disease, Joseph Dalmo, and it was really hard for me at first because he's a really busy person, so I had to make calls and get him on the line, or try to make an appointment or something. And there's also independent doctors that are working on this disease too. So I try to reach all of them and try to get as much knowledge as I can. So the problems that I encountered with this was it was actually really hard to mail someone. I didn't know it would be this hard because there are of course busy people that are working on this disease and finding new solutions, because there's no prevention of this disease. So the problem that I had was when I mailed them, it took too long for me to get an answer, and sometimes I didn't, and I had to contact them. I had to call them and be if mailing is hard, do you want to do a Skype conversation, or would you like to talk on the phone? And they it was all positive results except for one, because the doctor was really busy, which I get. So this is a brain with the disease. So as you see with the arrows, those are the part of inflammation. So in those parts, the body just attacks and it grows. So there's a patient called Sarah Cahalan, which is most famous patient. She had this disease, and she was the 217th person to be diagnosed with disease. And she had her left side of the brain full inflamed, and then that's why the part of this disease, it seems like schizophrenia. So you have hallucinations, you talk to yourself, you get delirious, but also you have seizures. It also starts with a flu-like symptoms, so you don't really realize it until you have seizures and hallucinations. So she had these seizures, but when she went to doctors, they said that she drank too much, she had too much stress. So after she had couple seizures, and she started being delirious, she started imagining things and saying that everyone's against her and stuff. So they thought she had schizophrenia.
Yes.
So a situation where I had to adapt to complete my project was when, of course, I had to wait. So in that process, I sure didn't just sat there. So I just looked at resources, and because there was a couple different resources, I had to go in their citations and find the main site. So after I got the mail from the foundation of NT-NMDA receptor encephalitis, I went to that site, and there's like a lot of resources in there, like you have to work on it, and like it took me a week to like review all the knowledge in there, because like there's like blogs. If you go to that blogs, there's like tons of other stuff, because like this disease is new and everyone wants this disease to be known. So the interesting part about this disease is it doesn't just happen with like human, it happens to animals too. So there's this like polar bear, I don't know if it was famous in like America, but in like Europe, like this polar bear was on the news and like everyone loved him. Its name is Kunt, and it was in Berlin. And when it died, everyone was in shock because like no one knew why it died. So after some time, they realized that he died because of anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, and this is why like people gain more knowledge about it, because like it was like a big thing for them, for an animal to like have this disease. And a situation which my initiative was crucial was when I had to take control and like try to like find the actual resource and like try to contact all those people, because like you can't, like there's not a certain phone number that says, oh here, like this is my cell phone, like you first call the foundation, you contact other people, and they say like, oh they come back on Thursday. So I had to call back them on Thursday in like sometime, and like there's like time differences, so it was a bit hard, but like it paid off, so I'm happy. And this is the girl that I was talking about. Her name is Zanneke Halen, and she wrote a book about the disease. So like she was like really in pain, and like everyone was saying that she was like, she had a mental disease. One said like you have bipolar, one said like you have schizophrenia, and like some doctor says that she was like schizoaffective, which means that he might have like bipolar and schizophrenia at the same time. But her parents were like so persistent that like she didn't have this, like had a mental issue, but she had like other issues because she was having seizures, like she couldn't move. Like the part of this disease where like it gets a bit scary in like the later like times, you are like immobilized, you can't move. So like she was just like sitting in hospital like this, like her hands like couldn't move, she couldn't walk. And then like she has a tape of like her having like hallucinations in the hospital, being like, yeah, they're watching me, like everyone is watching me, and like it's so like stressful. And like when you look at this disease, like it might be like easy to see like all the medical things, but when you look at there's like a side of this where you need to look at the emotional side of the patients, because of this, like I didn't just want to look at the scientific factors, I also wanted to like dig deeper and like read the book actually to know like how she felt like, and like it was really bad. So how has this project improved my skill as a communicator? Of course, like mailing someone, like talking with someone, and like I think this improved my English a bit too, because like when writing an email, I don't usually like write formal emails, and like when writing a formal email, you need to like use different vocabulary, like find different like adjust it differently. So like, and when I was talking, like it was a bit more like a bit harsh, because like my pronunciation is not always like, people don't usually understand it sometimes. And it also like improved my knowledge of medical terms, because like there's a lot. So this is Dr. Gujar. He is the one who diagnosed Sarah Halen. And the interesting thing is, so like when they were like saying that she had like schizophrenia, he was like, no, like this girl is having seizures, this like might be something different. So before they use this technique like drawing clock for Alzheimer's patients. to know like which part of your brain is working and like which part is damaged. So he made her draw this like clock and told her like just draw it as you remember it, and she draw this. She just draw the right part and left the right part like open, and she like tried like so hard, like twice or maybe like 4 times on like just drawing a like letter. So when she drew this, he understood that like there was something wrong with her brain. This wasn't a mental illness, because no one with a mental illness would draw this like clock, because he understood that her left side of the brain is like inflamed. So he said her brain is on fire. That's what inspired her to write her book, Brain on Fire. So which assignment or checkpoint was most challenging? It was most challenging when I had to separate between the emotional factors, scientific factors, and like merging them all together. After I read the book and like look at the like scientific factors, like in like medical terms, it seems like so easy, and it seems like, yeah, you have flu-like symptoms, you have seizures, and then you might die. So like 6% of the patients die, and 81% of patients are females, and like mostly children. It's like skewed to like children patients, and like this disease is mostly found in women, but like that has like teratomas, which are like tumors in their ovaries. Like there's not like certain relation between like they having teratomas and like they having this disease, but they think that this might have a relation, but because it's a new disease, they're not really sure. So like when I was merging the information together of like is this like, does this count? Like when she feels this, does this actually like mean that when you look at like medical terms? And like I tried my best to like get an understanding of this disease, because like I'm really like interested in brain and like neurology. So like I said, like 6% of the patients die, and like this disease was found in 2007. So like I just want you to imagine that like what happened to all those patients like that had this disease before 2007, because they probably had been like sent to a mental institution and left to die there because they thought they had schizophrenia. And like I said, 6% die, but that 6% is the people who had been diagnosed since 2007. But no one is like certain how many cases are there in a year, because like it's not a common disease. So when we go to a doctor, they just say like, oh, you don't have anything. Like they wouldn't just say like you have anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. And how I use my curiosity and imagination. So like I was like, I'm really curious about this, and like when I heard about this disease, I was like, what's more there like to learn? And like because like there wasn't that much resources, I had a bit like of a hard time like finding, but like it made me more curious, and it made me dig deeper more, I think, because like when I don't know something, I just want to learn more about it. And for my imagination part, it's just like when I read the book, it just like, I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it just like triggered like my thinking, because like at that moment I just realized that I had to like separate the medical terms and like all those things that she said. So 79% of the patients recover, fortunately, but sometimes they're left with like defects like seizures, or like they sometimes come up blind or deaf. So that's a bad part, but usually they fully recover. And some of the patients don't fully recover, like instead of like having seizures, they might still have like inflammation in their brain that they can't like really fix it. So like how they like really cure this disease is like fairly simple. They either give them steroids to like get rid of, like to build the immune system, and like to make body like realize that those are like part of your body, or they either attach them to IV to eliminate the immune system, like some of the things in there that's attacking the NMDA receptors, and they have to be like kept in hospital under like control because of two factors mainly. First, they have hallucinations, so if they're not kept under like hospital environment, they might try to escape or like they might try to kill themselves because like they have hallucinations. And then the other factor is that when they're attached to IVs and like when they're trying to weaken the immune system to like get rid of this disease, the body like weakens a lot, and then you might have other diseases like you might have influenza, you can get the common flu, which can be like bad for your treatment process. And how did I apply this knowledge to my regular classes? So like I never thought that I would like apply this knowledge to my classes because like it's a disease and like it's like not that common, so I didn't think that it would be relevant. But I realized that in my psychology class we are working on brain and like how brain works, which I'm really interested in. And like when I was like researching disease, I had to look up like how brain works, where is hippocampus, like how does the limbic system work, because like that's where the NMDA receptors are located. So like when I was in the psychology class and when teachers asked, like Mr. McAllister asked like, oh, where's hippocampus located, what hippocampus does, I already knew that knowledge because I looked it up. And what's my next step and where do I go from here? So I'm like really, because I'm really interested in brain and how it works, and like I want to pursue a career on this. I want to be a neurologist, want to go to med school. That's why like when I found like about this disease, I wanted to go more, so learn more. So like I think this would be a good step for me to like pursue that career, I think. And how I benefited from Wasatch is, yeah, like I'm more of an independent worker. Like I would like to set my ideas on my own, but I went to Dr. Roth like to talk to him, to ask him about like what he thinks. And then at first like I was just like trying to like do this disease, like all aspects of it. But he said like you should mainly narrow it down. He didn't tell me what to do because like he wanted me to like do it myself and like imagine it myself, like is my curiosity. But he really helped me like doing this in this process. And then in Wasatch, like I've never been in boarding school before, and in Turkey it's like more academics and there's no like social life. And like when I was doing this project, I actually like got help from my friends and like presented in front of them and like got to know like what they think about it, what should I change maybe, and like what can I improve about it. And then like it was like a really good environment for me because like everyone was like so accepting and stuff. Like I never had that environment in my life, so like I think Wasatch was the best place to do this project. So that's it. Thank you. So, do you have any questions?
You mentioned you reached out to the researchers who were researching the project. You emailed them and called them and things of that nature. Did they respond to you? Did you have a list of questions? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
I like, of course, I didn't just like call them to say like, oh, what do you know about this disease? Because I can just like go to their website and learn all that knowledge. Like that would be no point. So I just made a list of my questions, being like go more depth and like more in detail, because the one person that I emailed was Joseph Dalmo, which he found this disease. So like I wanted to learn like how he like developed a like cure for this disease and like how he worked. And he actually has a neuroimmunology program which he's working on. And like I get to like get more knowledge about him, which was like really good for me. And like when I first called them, like I called like approximately 19 places, and like first just 2 answered me, and they were like, yeah, like they're not here, or like we can't do anything. But I just like didn't stop because like I had to learn more. So like I don't know, I just like called them and like mailed them twice, which might like sound as like I might be a bit pushy, which actually was really good because like at the end they were like, oh, we're like, so it's so good to hear that someone is like really interested in disease. I want to learn more, and I actually wanted to learn more. So like I had like good conversations with them, and I got like my questions all answered about this disease, even like the things that I don't talk in here because like they're like a bit too medical. That can be like long. So
I have 2 questions for you. One is, what brought you to wanting to explore this disease in particular?
yeah.
So that's the first one. And the second one is, can you clarify if this is a disease that is short term, which I think is what you were saying, that it's not necessarily something that stays for years and years. Is that correct?
Oh no. So like this disease, there's no prevention for it, and you can't get vaccination, or you can't have a like better style as you do for like cancer and stuff. Like I should eat healthy. Like you can't really do that. If you get it, you get it. And this is like a long-term disease if you don't get cured. But if you get cured, like there's like 79% probability of you getting like better, or like just having like seizures, which is not good, but like still you're cured and you're not having hallucinations and inflammation in your brain. And like this is a long-term disease, and like it's usually happens in like children. So like when they have it, usually in like first couple of months, they don't even realize it. So that's why like it goes a bit longer, and because like it's a really rare disease, like no one knows about it. So like it goes like further and further and further. So like the thing that made me most interested about this disease, so I had a friend in Turkey that had this disease, but like I never thought about it because her mom, his mom was working on this disease, not on this disease, but she's a neurologist and she had contacts in Canada. So when he was like showing these symptoms, she immediately sent him to Canada. So I didn't really think much about it. But then I saw the polar bear on the news, and everyone was like, yeah, it had anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. I was like, what is that? Because like that's mouthful. And like it's like what? So like when I first learned about that polar bear, I was like, maybe I should look it up, because I don't know, I just like look random things up like when I see it on the news and stuff. So like I looked it up, and there's not much, so I just like let it go for a bit, and then I just got curious again, and I looked it for a bit too. So like when I was like doing this honors, I was like, yeah, I should just do something about the brain, because like that's my main focus. But I was like, what should I do? And I was like, maybe I should do something that would like challenge me more, instead of like doing Alzheimer's disease, which there's a lot of research on. I just wanted to learn more about the disease. There was like more challenging. I had to like contact people. I had to learn more. So like when I found this disease, I was like, yeah, this is going to be like hard to know about, but it's going to pay off. So that's how I did it actually.
All right, thank you.